Last night was another difficult one for Sati. As the family was asleep, a high tide swept into their home once again. By morning, Sati is back to sweeping out the seawater, sludge and dirt left behind. In Kerala's Ernakulam coast, the tide now arrives at people's doorstep. The sea is 12 kilometers away from Sati's home. Yet, during high tide, seawater travels inland through backwaters and canals, entering homes like hers. This is tidal flooding. What used to occur mostly during full and new moon phases today is much more frequent, turning even sleep for residents into uncertainty.
Tidal flooding is a very silent process. You don't really see the kind of currents and eddies and noise that you normally ascribe to the sea. This is sea donning a more mundane, a more apparently harmless persona and entering into your homes, and it will even enter your house if it is on a lower elevation, and it will then become the air that you breathe, the water that you drink, the space that you stand on, because once the water has left your space, it will leave back the salt, and that salt you can find on the walls of the house.
In Ernakulam's coast alone, over 20,000 homes now face repeated seawater intrusion. This can happen anywhere between 20 and 150 times a year, depending on the elevation. Ernakulam is only one of Kerala's 9 coastal districts now exposed to tidal inundation. And climate change is only part of the story. When local farmers in the region discovered how lucrative shrimp farming really was, over time, traditional paddy fields began disappearing. What followed was a gradual change in the landscape, narrower canals and changed drainage systems. As water lost its natural path, seawater became an uninvited guest. We travelled through some of the worst affected regions of Edakochi, Kumbalangi and Yerikara, where abandoned homes stand testimony to the crisis. 85-year-old Regina points to her neighbour's abandoned home, surrounded by contaminated floodwater thick with sludge. With most homes and livelihoods rooted to the coast, walking away from it all is not an easy option. What made it worse was how this growing climate crisis remained largely undocumented and unseen to the outside world, till a climate research and resilience organization stepped in. What we see here is a tidal flood calendar, a simple tool meant to help locals understand and respond to episodes of flooding. What the calendar does is enable residents to mark floodwater on it, just as they would mark daily milk or newspaper deliveries.
As long as there is water which has entered your life, you make a marking here. And if you have the time and you have the mental space to do so, we will be thrilled if you can just write here the maximum height to which water has risen and the time at which that has happened.
Dr. Shrija KG from the research company Equinaut emphasizes how the tool was developed to be as simple and non-intrusive as possible.
Take a scale, record the height to which it is happening, write it out there and also put a mark. And that to do that on a daily basis for 6 months. And when we collected those back, that was the day that we really realized the resilience of the people. And
the tidal calendars can now be seen across more than 10,000 homes in the region. But who worked to ensure such large-scale community participation?
in any panchayat it walked into, nearly 20 of them in the Ernakulam coast, we were met with women. And these were voluntary participants who made time in their busy schedule with taking care of house, taking care of what this impact is doing to them on a day-to-day basis, and then making time to come and talk with us and enter into a process of co-creation.
അപ്പോൾ ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ കുമ്പളങ്ങി പഞ്ചായത്തിൽ നമ്മൾ ഒരു കലണ്ടർ കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നു പലർക്കും.
Nearly 90% of the volunteers were women, the first responders who lived through the flooding themselves while helping others deal with its aftermath. In Kumbalangi, we met Shyama, among the first women volunteers.
Okay.
She has been going door to door documenting the impact of tidal flooding across her neighborhood.
കാരണം പണ്ടെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ മറ്റേ ഉടുപ്പ് പൊക്കി പിടിച്ച് അത്ര നീന്തി വരേണ്ട ആൾക്കാരാണ് ഇവർ.
Today, some of the places she once marked inaccessible due to floods finally have designated pathways.
മറ്റേ റോഡ് ഇപ്പം ഇത്തിരി നല്ലൊരു ഒരുവിധം പൊക്കത്തിലാണ് ഈ റോഡ് വന്നിരിക്കുന്നത്. അതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ഇവരെ സംബന്ധിച്ചിട്ട് വെള്ളം കയറണതിലൊരു മര്യാദക്ക് നടക്കാം.
To understand not just when the tide arrived, but also the path it took, this volunteer group then went on to develop handmade maps to reveal tidal patterns.
ആദ്യം ചെയ്തത് നമ്മൾ ഏതൊക്കെ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലാണ് കൂടുതലായിട്ട് വെള്ളം കയറുന്നത്, അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് പിന്നെ നമുക്ക് ട്രീ വരച്ചു. അതിൽ നമ്മൾ ഏറ്റവും കൂടുതൽ പ്രശ്നങ്ങൾ വരുമ്പോൾ പെട്ടെന്ന് നമുക്ക് ചെല്ലാൻ, ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ ഇവിടുത്തെ പ്രശ്നം വന്നാൽ നമ്മൾ അംഗനവാടിയിലേക്ക് ഇവിടെ അടുത്ത് അംഗനവാടിയുണ്ട്, പിന്നെയുള്ള സ്കൂൾ. അപ്പോൾ ഏറ്റവും ആദ്യം നമുക്ക് എത്തപ്പെടാൻ പറ്റുന്ന ഏതാണോ അത് ഫസ്റ്റ് നോട്ട് ചെയ്യുക. പിന്നെ അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ ശിഖിരങ്ങളായിട്ടുള്ള ചെയ്തു.
For Sudha and Krishnan, the entry of water into their home is still a perennial crisis. But at least it is no longer a surprise, they tell us.
ആ ഭാഗത്തു കൂടി വെള്ളം വരുന്നത് ഇതുകൂടി ഇതൊക്കെ ഈ വെള്ളം എല്ലാ ദിവസവും വേണ്ടേ, വെള്ളം വരുന്നതുകൊണ്ടാണ് ഇതിങ്ങനെ ഒന്നും ചെയ്യാൻ പറ്റാത്ത അവസ്ഥ. ഇതിൽക്കൂടി വെള്ളം നിറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ പിന്നെ അത് ഇറങ്ങുന്നവരെ ഇതായിട്ടിരിക്കും.
From placing makeshift barriers to securing their essentials, they say they are better prepared today.
അത് ഇത് നേരത്തെ ഈ വെള്ളം കയറുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് ഞങ്ങൾ നേരത്തെ ഇങ്ങനെ പൊക്കി വെച്ചേക്കുന്നതാണ് ഇവിടെ. ഇപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെയൊക്കെ തെള്ളി നിൽക്കുകയാണ്.
But is that even close to a long-term solution for these families? Years of sustained community participation and documentation eventually gave shape to India's first hyperlocal tidal flood dashboard for Ernakulam. Developed by leading hydroclimatologist Dr. Madhusudan, tidal floods for the first time could now be seen and tracked in real time.
Nobody is actually able to tell us whether which areas will be impacted, how many households will be impacted, who will be in the front lines of this particular disaster, and how can we prepare for that particular thing. So this is where the impact-based forecasting plays a major role. So it's not just providing you the information about the tidal levels or the river water levels or the surge levels in the sea or something like that. It provides you a kind of impact area, demarcating the impact area of that particular event, and based on multiple threshold, how this changes.
What started as a simple record keeping measure by the people is now a state matter. In January 2026, the Kerala government recognized tidal flooding as a state-specific disaster, moved by the growing concern around its impact. For many families here, however, the most painful part is watching the homes they built deteriorate with every passing tide, something that requires a more long-term solution.
We had a discussion with Structural Engineering Research Center in Chennai, a CSIR lab. They have developed a new material called textile reinforcement concrete, which is salt resistant, alkali resistant. Now we are going to try out in 4 houses, or renovating 4 houses using this textile reinforcement concrete.
As night falls over the backwaters of Ernakulam, the water looks deceptively calm again. But along these coastlines, every high tide carries uncertainty. And in the midst of it all, people here continue to hold on to the hope that a safer life along these waters is still possible.
Thanks for watching Eco India. If you like the story, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to Scroll.in on YouTube.